How is it going today,
Good.
Loyalists? Come on, Dwayne.
My name's Jasmine.
We're Dwayne Jazz. So we have Mark Rober. I think I said it right. How to See Germs Spread. C virus.
Yeah, we're gonna call it the C virus.
Yeah,
Like the Resident Evil.
Yeah. So
we just finished watching Contagion.
So yeah, that's why we're like, okay, we're more interested in seeing how viruses spread, especially since that movie. So
yeah.
Make sure you check out his channel. Links in the description below, and don't forget to subscribe. Let's dive on in.
I've always thought if we could somehow just see the germs around us, everyone would be a lot more careful and we'd get sick way less. Unfortunately, that's still not possible. So I did the next best thing by running a day-long experiment in this third grade classroom.
Oh, Jesus,
wow.
kids spread it.
Glow germ, and just like real germs, when it's on your hands, you can't see it. But unlike real germs, if you turn a black light on, it becomes visible. But it transfers to things you've touched, so it provides a really good way to visualize exactly how germs spread. So before the kids arrived, as a control, I went around and noted any pre-existing spots in the room that fluoresced under the black light, and then it was go time.
Okay,
the kids, of
that
course, had no idea what we were doing, and that the teacher had been secretly infected with the glowing powder. So she randomly shook the hands of 3 kids, but didn't touch any of the rest. And so with that, they just went about their normal day.
She said, oh, you don't get handshakes.
Right.
Let's just go. Let's take it to him.
At break, I did choose one random student, and he agreed to letting me put some of the powder on his hands too. And then 2 hours later at lunchtime, I checked the results. Remember, everything you see here started with just the teacher and 1 student having a little of that powder on their hands.
Wow.
And because my flashlight can only illuminate 1 spot at a time, I used Photoshop to better visualize our observations of where germs were left behind, including on the other kids.
Look, on her face.
You're pretty hot over here. Oh, right here. And they were actually pretty diligent about washing their hands. This was the desk of the kid that was infected. And what's crazy is that germs could live on a hard surface like this for up to 9 days.
Yeah.
So you can see how important it is to disinfect the things a sick person regularly touches. For example, this was the phone of the teacher in the experiment. Even if you wash your hands really often, if you immediately pull out your phone, a lot of those germs just go right back on your hands. Think about when the last time was that you cleaned your phone. My friend Joanne at the Wall Street Journal demonstrated you can clean your phone with an antibacterial wipe every day for at least a year, and it doesn't affect the oleophobic coating at all. And this hopefully gives you a better mental model of why it's really important to wash your hands or use hand sanitizer after being at places like this, or this, or this, or this.
We wear
gloves now. We wear gloves now.
We wear gloves like a week ago.
Like a week ago,
we went grocery shopping at 8 a.m. in the morning, and we was walking around with gloves, and we was like one of the only few. It was like us and maybe 1 or 2 other people out of hundreds of other people.
And that was way earlier.
And that was way earlier than
this
everything
thing blew
got
up the way it was. Because me and Jasmine.
We are conspiracy theorists, so we prepare for every type of situation.
I told her when it was happening, in China.
Yeah.
It wasn't even, as big as it got to now.
Even then, I was like, nah, that's going to spread, and it's going to come over here, and that's exactly what happened.
So we going to the gas stations looking crazy with because we couldn't.
Gloves.
With blue gloves, and in the beginning, before we got the blue gloves, I had a napkin, and I was using a napkin to pump
People
the gas.
looking at us crazy and stuff a week ago. Now we went grocery shopping again this morning, and then we saw way more people with gloves, face masks and gloves. I was like, oh, we weren't crazy, huh?
Even if a virus is spread through airborne transmission, those tiny droplets don't stay in the air for long.
Yeah,
and then land on surfaces waiting to be touched by our hands. Which raises an important point. The ultimate defense against catching a virus is just don't touch your face. Yeah. Your eyes, nose, and mouth are like the single weak spot on the Death Star when it comes to viruses. That's the only way they can get in to infect you. But as you can see here, not touching your face is easier said than done.
They said, when we was watching the movie Contagion, they said we touched our face 2,000 to 3,000 times a day. I don't know how true that is.
That might be true for me, because I definitely touch my face.
I definitely touch my face a little too much, especially my beard. I touch it a lot.
I touch my face. I go like that. I'll go like that or whatever. Put my hand here. I touch my face continuously.
Yeah. So we got to learn to practice not touching our face. Anyway,
it's gonna be hard.
That's gonna be super hard. So I'm on it.
And before you think, yeah, well, that's just kids for you, this was what the teacher's face looked like at the end of the day. And she said she tried extra hard to remember not to touch her face. I found this result fascinating, so I put the powder on my own hands for a few hours, and I resisted the urge to touch my face so many times that I fully expected I was going to have a perfectly clean face and the moral high ground.
Nope.
And then this is what I saw.
Like, yes, I did.
The heck? I genuinely have no idea when any of this came on. Until I reviewed the footage. Well, there you go.
See?
On average, we touch our face 16 times an hour, which is why washing hands is so important. It's impossible to catch a virus directly through your hands. It's as futile as shooting the outer surface of the Death Star. The problem is we use our hands to help the virus out by constantly giving it a ride to our figurative Death Star exhaust ports.
Yeah. I mean, because like the thing about it, washing your face, you're brushing your teeth, you're doing a lot.
With some of the kids after lunch. First, I had them put some lotion on their hands that also glows under a black light. But then I told them I made a mistake and used the wrong lotion. Can you guys just go wash your hands real quick? And do a good washing, right? Yeah, do the right washing, okay?
There you go. I
just tricked you guys again. Because what I really wanted to do is test how good you are at washing your hands. So guess what I'm going to do now? Show me your hands. But before I show you how effective they actually were at washing their hands, here's what you should quickly know about viruses. They're super tiny, but also the most abundant biological entity on the planet. In fact, there's over 10 million viruses in any single drop of seawater. And a lot of types of viruses are beneficial to the planet's ecosystem, and only an insanely tiny percentage affect humans at all. And they're really simple. Viruses are basically a shell with some DNA inside, and they just want to spread and duplicate.
And they want to multiply and attach.
But they're so simple that they need a host to do that. So they reproduce by infecting their host cells and then trick them to become factories that just make more exact copies of the virus. When you get sick and then cough or sneeze or wipe your nose and then touch a surface, you're putting copies of this virus out to find other hosts and just repeat the process. And so here's what the kids' hands look like after washing their hands. Uh-oh, look at the back.
There's a spot.
See your fingernails.
Some spots they didn't hit.
Oh, your thumb! Oh, look at your wrist! Look at your wrist! We all sort of have a habitual way of washing our hands. So once again, I tried this myself using the typical quick way I do it in my muscle memory. Granted, that's better than nothing, but you can see the difference compared to when I was deliberate and took 20 seconds. Which is why it helps to do things like sing the happy birthday song twice, or you could do what I do and follow Brandon Flowers' example. Jealousy, turning saints in eager eyes, 'cause I miss the bright side. And then for a final experiment, I wanted to show how dumb handshaking is, so I infected the first kid with the powder and then had them do a handshake chain down the line. The fifth person here still had significant traces on their hand, so I put him at the first and lined 4 more kids up after him, and 3 of their hands glowed. So we got trace germs from the original person all the way down 8 handshakes later. So if you're me in real life, please don't be offended if in lieu of a handshake, I offer you a fist bump and a selfie.
Or like that.
In conclusion, what does this all mean with regards to the coronavirus COVID-19? You should be concerned and take this seriously, but regardless of what you see in the coming weeks, there's absolutely no need to panic. As I'm sure you've heard a bunch by now, our goal is to flatten the curve so that the reported cases stay just under the capacity of the healthcare system. And social distancing is the best knob that we can turn to affect that. The reason this helps should hopefully make more sense after watching this video, especially for those who have been doubting the science and feeling like this is an extreme reaction.
He did it with
and my take here is I'm a practical optimist. The upside is while this virus is bad, it could be way worse. And this gives us a chance as a global community to get some systems and methods in place to handle something potentially even more drastic in the future. Also, maybe it will lead to changing some social norms, like replacing handshakes with fist bumps, or when people are really sick, thinking it's okay to mingle about and go to work. Globally, the
sometimes bosses don't even allow
to 500,000 people a year,
you could be
due in
sick
large
and
part
they'd
to
be like, you
people
still
not
go.
practicing good germ hygiene. So if this experience makes people more socially aware of the right precautions to take when they get sick, that will save countless lives for years to come, long after this coronavirus is old news. And make no mistake, this is going to be rough for some more than others, but history has shown that us humans are pretty resilient. These types of things can bring out the worst.
That was ridiculous.
But they can also bring the best, most wholesome parts of us, like these Italians practicing their social distancing with an impromptu balcony concert.
That was cool.
How we feel about the situation is largely dependent on just which part we choose to focus on. For me, that means being grateful to the heroes in our healthcare system, or the school lunch ladies still providing free lunch for kids who depend on them, or the scientists all over the world who are working tirelessly 7 days a week to create better testing methods and a vaccine. This is going to be a bumpy ride for us, but the economy will eventually bounce back, as it always does, and we'll be better off as a global community for having gone through this. Again, take this seriously, but there's absolutely no need to panic. we totally got this.
If we wash our hands.
Right. And when we wash our
Well,
hands.
it just so happened to be filming at their school. The principal came over the PA to make an announcement.
Because of this virus, we are going to be closing school for 3 weeks.
And like,
yeah! No school for 3 weeks. Oh, Jesus.
It's just an opportunity.
You see it?
In fact,
okay, so that was a very informative video.
Yeah,
of
I like that he used like little invisible stuff, and like with kids, like it makes it like fun for them to see it. Like at the end, like, ooh, let's see.
Yeah,
so
that's real. I learned a
cool.
lot. I learned a lot. You can always keep learning and stuff like that.
Yeah, the social distancing thing is like still a hard thing for some people. Like the people that have to go to work, like they have no other choice but to go to work. They can't stay home. So it's like how like I see the celebrities saying like, oh, stay home. What are you doing outside? Like not everybody has
the luxury
to just stay inside. Like people have to leave.
There's
So
like tattoo artists, barbers, hairstylists.
Everybody, people just going to a regular job.
Construction workers.
You know, like they have to go out.
Yeah.
Like so it's just like you just have to wash your hands constantly.
Wash your hands
basically.
constantly.
Every time we leave the house, we always wash our hands as soon as we get in. Like the bathroom is like right there. And
wipe like doorknobs or like doorknobs, elevator buttons. Yeah. Especially since we watched the Contagion movie. And it was like you thinking about like how many things you touch and do and stuff.
Before
like that,
we were out like trying to get stuff of like our sleeves and like not hitting stuff. So like if y'all ever see us out and about and see a door coming up, you're gonna see us do some weird thing to open up the door. But
we used to do that before anyway. We did that before anyway because we were trying not to just like catch stuff. I've seen people who use the bathroom not wash their hands at all. It's like it's like just nasty. So
like I know when I go to the bathroom, I never even touch the toilet seat. I'm a squatter, so like I squat and like I don't virtually touch anything on my body.
A lot of times,
toilet. I squat and then I flush the toilet with my foot. That's what I do.
If I have to go public place and I have to take a poop, I put layers of toilet paper in it. And then when I leave, I kick.
I kick it too.
Kick it too.
But I saw a video of somebody doing that, like of them kicking it, like saying this is how we flush toilets now. I'm like, I've been doing that since I was like 7.
Yeah,
like, so I don't know about y'all. I don't sit on any toilet seat that's not my own. Okay, if it's somebody else's, if I'm at somebody else's house or whatever, I'm squatting. Okay, I'm not sitting.
There's a situation where I went to my bathroom, this gas station. I hate gas station bathrooms.
I would rather hold it until I get home.
Gas station bathrooms, y'all feel me out there? Gas station bathrooms suck. Okay, I hate gas station.
Go home.
I went to one bathroom, bro. It was just poop everywhere. It was just like, woo.
Yeah. So like just try your
wash
best
your hands,
to
try your
stay
best
clean.
I just touched my face
and
a lot.
Be aware, because I touched my face a whole bunch.
I just touched it a lot.
I'm touching it through this whole video, but I've already used like hand sanitizer.
Wash our hands for 20 seconds. Make sure there's different techniques we might drop on like Twitter or something like to wash your hands or whatever, or retweet it. So make sure you guys, look out for that. But anyway, comment below. Let us know what you think.
Don't forget to like,
subscribe.